Now on Toledo News this morning, COVID-19 in Ohio, what state health officials are now saying about the highly contagious Delta variant and vaccinations coming up. Plus, Science After Dark, previewing an event happening tonight at the Imagination Station. And preparing for Snowfall, when you can expect to start seeing ODOT crews out on the roads. Good Saturday morning, I'm Jaden Jefferson, and welcome to Toledo News this morning. We start with an update regarding COVID-19 here in Ohio. Health officials say virus hospitalizations have risen 23% in the last 3 weeks, meaning that 1 in 7 hospitalized Ohioans are hospitalized due to COVID-19. Ohio Department of Health Director Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff says those who remain unvaccinated are at the greatest risk for contracting and being hospitalized for COVID-19, which is why getting vaccinated is so crucial. He adds that when planning your Thanksgiving feast, think about ways to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
How's the weather? Can you gather outside? Or can you open some windows to improve ventilation? Consider limiting the number of people at your Thanksgiving celebration and be mindful of where we are in this pandemic.
With regard to vaccinations, a little over 60% of the state has received at least 1 dose of the vaccine. Now taking a look at traffic, lane restrictions are in place on State Route 15 between the city of Findlay and the Wyandotte County line for crack sealing. This Thanksgiving, there will be far more Americans hitting the road compared to the year 2020. AAA predicts 53.4 million people will travel for the holiday, up 13% from last year. This brings travel volumes within 5% of pre-pandemic levels in 2019, with air travel almost completely recovered. As COVID-19 related travel restrictions continue to lift and consumer confidence builds, AAA urges travelers to be proactive when making their travel plans this holiday season. Additionally, keep in mind that gas prices are up this year due to bottlenecks in the supply chain. According to ToledoGasPrices.com, the area average sits at $3.14. Happening today, the Town Center at Levis Commons is hosting its 18th annual tree lighting event. The event kicks off at 4:45 with performances by choirs from local schools, dancing, carriage rides, and more. The actual tree lighting will take place at 6 o'clock with Perrysburg Mayor Tom Mackin and, of course, Santa and Mrs. Claus. The event is free and open to the public. And the tree is lit here at Promenade Park in downtown Toledo. I'm Jaden Jefferson joining you here from Promenade Park, where the tree lighting just wrapped up, and plenty of people are glad to finally be able to enjoy live events right here in the Glass City. It's a great turnout, to say the least. So many people came out for this tree lighting, and it's an event that has brought many out. Even before pre-pandemic, a lot of people came out for this event because there was food. Santa, of course, was here. You had characters. So there was just so much to do here in Promenade Park, and that's one of the things that Toledo has to offer for its residents is nice community events. And as you can see behind me, people are starting to go do some other stuff around the park, because when the tree lighting happens, that's just the tip of the iceberg for all of the things that happen right here in Promenade Park when the tree lighting occurs. So as you're watching this, it's Saturday, and happening today, we have the Levis Commons tree lighting at 6 o'clock, of course, at Levis Commons. And that'll be another big event that happens here in Northwest Ohio, because tree lightings really bring people together. It brings the community together. And these are events that we're glad to start to see happen as we're emerging from this pandemic. It really is a positive sight, and it also brings hope. Reporting in downtown Toledo, I'm Jaden Jefferson. ODOT is preparing early for the winter season, getting plows prepared, salt ready, and ensuring some major construction projects like the I-75 reconstruction through downtown continue. Rebecca D'Angelo, Public Information Officer for ODOT District 2, says plow drivers are looking forward to hitting area highways this winter. She adds that when you begin seeing ODOT's plows on the roads, remember to give them space and be courteous.
We always say, people are kind of used to the saying, don't crowd the plow, but we really want to remind people of that. These trucks are giant, and they're going a lot slower than normal speeds. So we really need people to be paying attention for them, give them room to work.
As for those major construction projects, some will continue through the winter and others won't, as it's all dependent on the temperature. ODOT is also hiring for some seasonal and full-time positions. To learn more, visit this story at jadenreports.medium.com. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost has filed a lawsuit against Facebook, claiming it misled the public on how it controlled its proprietary algorithm, all in an effort to boost its stock and deceive shareholders. The lawsuit, filed on behalf of the Ohio Public Employees Retirement System and Facebook investors, contends that from April 29th through October 21st of this year, Facebook and its senior executives violated federal security laws by purposely misleading the public on the negative effects of its products on the health and well-being of children and the steps the company has taken to protect the public.
The
the city recently just surpassed its homicide record, which was set in 2020. So what was your reaction to that yesterday?
It was a mixed reaction, right? Seeing is that, we are, in a process, we are still in those infancy stages of developing our process to address the overall picture of gun violence. I mean, we have a number of things that we can hang our hats on and a number of things that I'm extremely proud of. But at the end of the day, the goal is to reduce homicides. So I think once we identify some consistency and sustainability in some of our programs, they will be able to have more of a longer lasting effect. But again, we've had a number of initiatives be extremely successful. And so I'm proud of that fact.
We recently found out that 2 of the violence interrupters, total group was hired when this program started, and 2 of them we just found out had quit from the program. So do you see this being a trend when you hire new violence interrupters?
Well, so per cure violence, it is a high turnover rate, right? So we kind of prepare for that. So the job posting is always, it never comes down. It consistently stays up. We continually pull applications for individuals to participate. When numbers go down like they did in this particular instance, being able to have individuals who are participatory as far as like individuals that are in college, that are doing intern hours, myself, just to make sure our violence interrupters are safe while they're canvassing, while they're out in the community. So to kind of compensate for the individuals who fall off, we just make sure that we're able to have the resources to have individuals help them out. So we had one intern who is a college graduate, who will soon be a college graduate, and myself. So to make sure that we have a good quality for individuals out while they're working.
What have been some of the challenges of addressing gun violence here in the city of Toledo? Because every other city in the country is dealing with the rise in gun violence right now. So what in particular has been the challenge in Toledo?
When you speak of challenges, right, we have to address things that are historically and systemic through a lot of the communities, right? The distrust in government, the distrust in media, the distrust in law enforcement from a community who has been historically and systemically mistreated, excluded from these processes. And so developing that trust in the community who has been marginalized for decades, is difficult. And so building up that trust within the community to reframe, to change the norm of what we've been experiencing has been the biggest challenge, right? We want to prevent violence. We want individuals who perpetrate violence to face justice, but we don't want to participate in that by sharing what we know or information with law enforcement. To change what is considered snitching, the theme of snitching, it's just a huge misconception of what a snitch is. And because of that, it makes it hard to bring individuals to justice who perpetrate violence. And so we have to, and I do this when every chance I get in front of a large group of people from our community, I definitely share this message, because we as a community have a responsibility in addressing violence as well. Snitches are individuals who benefit from sharing information with law enforcement, whether it's leniency on a sentence, leniency on time, leniency in the eyes of the judges, they benefit. So them giving up information is self-serving to what their conditions is. Individuals who are law-abiding citizens who just want to make sure that these tragedies don't happen with their family, don't happen in their community. These aren't snitches. It's impossible to be a snitch and a law-abiding citizen at the same time. And so that misconception, it hurts our community. It's very similar to vaccinations. The African-American community does not participate as largely as we should in vaccinations, but there's a distrust in medicine, which has been earned. And so changing that trajectory of what we see, and we have a number of examples, as from Tuskegee experiments to most recently NFL concussion cases where African Americans don't receive concussion settlements because of the erroneous perception that we experience pain or have a high tolerance for a number of false reasons. But so there is a distrust in medicine and a distrust in government. And so with that, we have to break down these barriers to build up that, to change that norm. And so that individuals that do perpetrate violence can face justice. and therefore it'll turn around. And when people know that there are consistent consequences, it changed the thinking. But when people don't face justice or face consequences for their action, it perpetrates the cycle. It continues the cycle of violence, knowing, you won't be held accountable because nobody's saying nothing. Witnesses are silent. And so we have to change that norm.
Juwan Armour, Commissioner of the Mayor's Initiative to Reduce Gun Violence, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jaden. Appreciate that.
Happening tonight, the Imagination Station is hosting its annual Science After Dark event, this year in the form of a holiday night market. The Science Center will be open after hours for an adults-only evening filled with entertainment, food, cocktails, and shopping. 70 area artisans and makers will set up shop both in and outside of Imagination Station in a heated tent to give the community a unique shopping experience in the heart of downtown. There'll also be food from local food trucks, a hot chocolate bar, fire pits with s'mores, cash bar, and full access to the Science Center decorated for the holidays.
Part of our mission, though, is to really promote and encourage lifelong learning. So this gives our adult crowd an opportunity to do that.
To buy tickets, visit the Science Center's website, or you can purchase them at the door. That's all for the news this morning. Have a great Saturday.